We are getting down to the nitty-gritty here in Season 2. And as the drivers of the RIL Daredevil series have gone from coast to coast and across the globe, they have stumbled into Turn 200 home territory as the Daredevils get set to do battle for 80 laps around the Worldwide Technology Raceway, which, in the spirit of the throwback here tonight, will only be referred to as Gateway going forward. Welcome, one and all, to the circus that is the Daredevils here on Turn 200. My name is Tommy Cook. We've got the absolute madman, Matt Williamson, punching the keys here tonight. Welcome home to the greater St. Louis area. Welcome to Gateway. We're just a couple of miles away from all the glitz and glam that is the Arch and Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Are you excited to be back?
Well, I'm excited to be back in multiple aspects. One, I'm great to be back here, back to the Daredevil series as we've taken a week off for the last 3 races of the season, getting right down to the championship here before too long. But also great to be here at Gateway. We spent a lot of time in St. Louis growing up, going to Cardinals games and Blues games and whatnot. So great to be at Gateway virtually here tonight, and looking forward to see what we have on tap with the Daredevil series.
I don't know about you, but I feel like it was an all-time race at Pocono a couple of weeks ago. It certainly had to shake up the points, even just a little bit, with just 3 races to go.
Yeah, I mean, after an early exit from our points leader, Octavio Rondoletto, it was looking like there might have been a massive shakeup in the points. But after the last crash took out both James Watson and Gavin Sanders, the points really didn't change a whole lot towards the top. Now, where things did get shooken up a bit is just outside the top 5, where we find race winner Christopher Hill in P6. He is the last driver inside of the 2,000-point bubble, which is important, because anyone who is more than 2,000 points behind the points leader after tonight will be eliminated from mathematical contention. The top 19 drivers have mathematical paths to a championship, but a lot of these drivers you see further down the left side and from the top to the bottom on the right side have a lot of work to do, and not just tonight, but across the next 2 races to secure themselves the title.
We've brought up in pretty much every oval race pre-show this season how we're expecting tire wear to be a factor as the race rolls along. But you mentioned at one point last race at Pocono, and I have to agree that the tires really have not played as much of a role as maybe we thought they were going to. Really, not just at Pocono, but at any point this season. So as we look back through the past race catalog for the Daredevils to try and find some sort of comparison to Gateway, which is certainly a unique track, is tire wear really something we're going to be looking out for today?
I'd say the closest comparison we're going to find would probably be the Milwaukee Mile from last season. Similar track style, similar layout, although Milwaukee has 2 even sets of corners and banking, Gateway does not. But we saw quite a bit of overheated right rear tires at Milwaukee last season. Now, what has changed between now and then? Well, first of all, these drivers have a lot more experience managing their tires and knowing when to push and when to cool off. The other thing that has changed is quite literally the tires themselves. Just days before Daredevil Season 2, the Lotus 79 had a complete head-to-toe overhaul on the sim, and one of the things that got the most attention was the tire model. Whether the makeover has been the prevailing factor or the fact that we're almost done with Daredevil Season 2, the tires haven't played as much of a factor as they did in Season 1. But who knows? That could be out the window here tonight. We'll have to see.
I said to close up the broadcast at Pocono that I'd be shocked if we had more than a couple people qualify for the Jacksonville 0-0 Challenge Fund. But lo and behold, we had 5 drivers finish not only with a 0X, but also on the lead lap and add themselves to the list. Neil Lusher, Hugo Galaz each pick up their 3rd entry into the drawing. Zachary Flown picks up his 2nd, and Caleb Bensi and Christopher Hill each notch their 1st. We'll see who joins them tonight after 80 laps around Gateway. But thanks again to Jacksonville Speedway as the pot begins to swell here towards the end of the season. Our final thoughts before we turn them loose in St. Louis. Coming up, But next, it's a long overdue interview with your points leader. Our turn 200 driver to watch for Gateway is Octavio Rondoletto, and he will be in booth 200 live after the break. You like that one?
That was great. Turn them loose and sing loose.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Broken I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
We're going to be 3 wide at the line. Octavio Rondoletto wins the race by 1/1000th of a second. Just a few minutes from getting after it here at Gateway for round number 7 for the RIL Daredevils. And the gentleman who has been leading the points for all 6 rounds of competition thus far this season is the Juncos Esports driver, Octavio Rondoletto. Welcome back to the broadcast booth. How are you doing today?
Hello guys, I'm fine. Trying to do my best here today. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, looking at the practice speeds, you're second quickest right now behind your teammates. What do you think the biggest challenge will be for you here tonight at Gateway?
The greatest challenge for today will be the turbulence due to dirty air, because Gateway is a racetrack with 2 different turns, and that may allow us to make overtaking maneuvers. I do not expect a race full of fight, but probably something more like Richmond. This is a medium speed track.
Hey, Matt?
Yeah, Octavio, looking at the big picture here, you've been very consistent this season, which has gotten you to the top spot in the standings. Is there anything you feel like you still have left to accomplish this season for it to be a successful season, other than maybe closing out this championship?
Yeah, I would like my teammates to finish the best possible on the standings, because they do a great job, and I would like them to get a good result too.
You've always got a lot of fans and your family cheering here in YouTube comments, so we figured we'd let them hear from you before a race for a change rather than after it. But best of luck to you here tonight, and go out and get yourself a podium or a win.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully, see you in the interview post race.
There you go. We're counting on it, buddy.
Thank you.
What a great guy, Octavio Rondoletto. And coming off of his, unfortunately, his worst finish of the season last week at Pocono. It's really been his only misstep this entire season. Of course, you just saw it in that opening package there. Opened up the season in style, winning the Auto Club race, the first race of Season 1, by 1/1000th of a second, 3 wide at the line. And only been off the podium twice this entire season, a 9th place at Charlotte and a 14th place at Pocono. But, I mean, absolute lights-out consistency for the Juncos Esports driver, Octavio Rondoletto, who comes into tonight with a 925-point lead over James Watson. And he really dodged a bullet last week after Watson and Gavin Sanders and Dakota DeMade, 3 guys who could have crept their way back into the championship, all wrecked out in one crash towards the end of the race, all 3 of them running up front.
Yeah, Rondoletto went out early, and we're sitting here thinking, oh boy, this championship battle is about to tighten up here real quick. And unfortunately for those 3 drivers you just mentioned that are chasing him at the moment, they all got involved in an accident right there towards the end. So pretty much ended up not mattering it at all that Rondoletto went out early. Very, very minimal points that those other 3 drivers gained. So he definitely dodged a bullet last week. And he's just looking to kind of keep that consistency up here tonight. He's got 3 races left to pull this one out. I mean, honestly, as long as he finishes in the top probably 5, 6, or 7 of these next 3 races, he'll have this thing wrapped up.
I would have to agree with you here. But we got to race the races first. Octavio Rondoletto is second quickest right now. He's behind his teammate Bruno Miranda. Both of those drivers are in the low 28.8s. It's a 28.825 for Miranda, who is piloting car number 5 here tonight. And Octavio Rondoletto just behind him with a 28.837. James Watson, Joshua Tucker, and Nate Siefker make up the rest of your top 5 here as the checkers fly on practice. We're going to have cars out onto the track for qualifying. And I'm going to make a request to you, Mr. Director Man, the first driver that you follow off the pit road here. I want to showcase what Octavio was talking about in his interview there. The 2 different sets of corners, if you're not familiar with Gateway here, turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4, vastly different here.
Yeah, well, we're coming out of the pit exit here with Nate Siefker. He's heading off into 3. If you want to go ahead and talk about these 2 corners, please be my guest.
Well, I don't know the specifics. I don't know the width and the banking and all that, but turns 3 and 4 going to be flat out for these guys most of the time anyway. I'm not sure. I didn't make it too deep in a run here. Where it's really going to be difficult is turns 1 and 2 here. Much narrower, much shorter. Actually going to have to be on the brakes and downshift from 5th to 4th to make that corner. Much easier time here through 3 and 4. Going to see speeds in the mid 150s, low 160s most of the way through the turns here. Whereas in turns 1 and 2, speed's going to be down in the mid to high 130s, I do believe. And so watching some times start to make their way up onto the board here. I believe the best time of the bunch right now belongs to Nate Siefker. And actually, Octavio Rondoletto has just gone to the top of the board with a 29.082.
Yeah, and we saw some 28s in practice, so they're going to be looking to crank that second lap up here.
Siefker faster on his second lap into the 29.042s. We'll have to see when Rondoletto comes back across the line here. He's about to cross, and he does break into the 28s. It's 28.932 for Rondoletto. He is the only driver. Scratch that, actually, Gavin Sanders has made his way into the 28-second bracket, but those are the only 2 drivers, Rondoletto and Sanders. And I think this is the first time that we've mentioned Gavin Sanders here thus far. He is had a misstep in Pocono after winning his first 2 races of the season back-to-back. Finished just outside of the top 10 for Gavin Sanders when he was battling for the lead. But it could be a good recovery for him here tonight. Also, you made mention of it in our pre-race show, but I want to reiterate it again. Anybody that is more than 2,000 points out of the lead after tonight's race is mathematically eliminated. Right now, that would mean that only the top 6 drivers in the points as they run still have a crack at this championship if things stay the way that they are now after the race. Did that make any sense?
It made sense to me, but I'm also the one that explained it in the first place. So
yeah.
No, I
didn't do a very good job there.
No. I mean, the thing about this series is, as we saw with Gavin Sanders, is if you come in and win a couple of races, I mean, you get vaulted into the points stratosphere very quickly. Now, granted, like we've mentioned already, Rondoletto was very consistent. So even though Sanders gained a lot of points very quickly, Rondoletto already had a lead and had good points days, even though Sanders was winning races. So was able to keep a very large point lead up to this point.
Christopher Kresge was the only car on track, and he was 16th fastest. He goes to 15th fastest on his second lap. Still waiting for times from Wesley Shire, Neil Lusher, D.L. Lemon, Daryl Weininger, who will be making his debut here tonight, and Matthew Johnston. We have 21 drivers in the session. Some notable absentees. Once again, Nicholas Johnston is not here again tonight. Neither is Michael DeTurk. And this will be the first ever Daredevil race that we will not see. The Dakota Demigod, Dakota DeMade, is off and away for the next couple of weeks, I believe, but he'll be back to try and defend his race title at Indianapolis to close out the season for round number 9. He says he didn't give me an actual reason why, but he said it's Ohio's fault that he is not here for the next 2 weeks. So
Always blaming it on Ohio, he is.
yeah, I know. He vehemently claims still that society has moved past the need to have Ohio. So I don't really know what he's often doing, but he plans to be back in 2 weeks, so it can't be anything too crazy for Dakota Domain. Nevertheless, qualifying is about to wrap up here. We've got a starting grid for round number 7 of season number 2 for the RIL Daredevil series. It's here at Gateway. Let's get silly in St. Louis. As the pole sitter for the second week in a row, third time this season, it is your points leader, the Argentinian Octavio Rondoletto, will have control of the field when we come to the green flag. Starting to his outside is the Canadian driver of the Team Racefirst number 10. That is Gavin Sanders on the outside of the front row, still looking to make a splash here as we come down the stretch for the championship. On the inside of row number 2 out of Oskaloosa, Iowa, that is Nate Seeker in car number 2. Starting to his outside, the teammate to Octavio Rondoletto in the Juncos Esports number 5 out of Brazil, that is the Storm Bruno Miranda. Rounding out your top 5 starters, I believe this is his best start of the season. And car number 424, Nicholas Citro out of Virginia Beach, starting in P5. Last week's race winner at Pocono starts to his outside out of California. That is the 101 of Christopher Hill on spot number 6. Row number 4 on the inside, it is P2 in the points. Coming into tonight is James Watson in car number 39. And starting to his outside, first time we've seen him back in a couple of weeks since Mid-Ohio, it's Cody Claiborne starting in P8. Row number 5 on the inside is Wes Lopez out of Charlotte, North Carolina in car number 86. To his outside, he's back for the first time since Richmond a few weeks ago. That is Joshua Tucker in the Let's Race number 77. On row number 6 on the inside, he qualified for the 0-0 challenge with his career best fifth place finish last week at Pocono. That is Zachary Flaum. And starting to his outside, his best start of the season out of Granger, Indiana, that is Peter Donchak in car number 13. On row number 7 on the inside, the Chilean driver in car number 57 tied his best career finish last week at Pocono. That is Hugo Galaz. And to his outside, looking to finish for the first time in some number of weeks, is Drew White out of Greenfield, Indiana in car number 15. Row number 8 on the inside, that is the league proprietor, Christopher Kresge out of Bangor, Pennsylvania in the 777. To his outside, a career best finish last week for Charles Grove in car number 07, looking to keep the momentum going. Wesley Shire, Neil Lusher, 17th and 18th. Then it is D.L. Lemon and the debuting Daryl Weininger in 19th and 20th. Matthew Johnston, a career best finish of 4th place for him last week at Pocono, rounds out your field in the 21st starting position. What do we got on tap for the action here tonight at Gateway, Matt?
Yeah, we're here tonight, as always. There are no fast repairs, 18x incident, limit with a 10x warning. That is a drive-through. No lucky dogs either. The track temperature right now is a very cool 80 degrees. That's a lot cooler than we usually see here. As you can see, the sun is going down right now, so that is going to help our drivers here tonight. We also have 80 laps or 55 minutes. The fuel window is probably around 50 to 55 laps. And that's what I got for a pre-race.
I'd say it's about time to get rocking and rolling, brother. What do you say here at our home race? Turn 200 here at Gateway, and it feels so good. Pace car hangs the left. It's time to push limits and bust rivets because the Daredevils are on the move at Gateway. Into the tight first turn, peeking 3 wide there. Siefker had a look there to the inside of Rondoletto, who pushes up the track to cover off Sanders. They'll be side by side for seconds. They're already wrecking further back in the pack. I believe Drew White was involved.
There's quite a few involved back here, actually. We're going to take
four cars. One car hit hard there on the inside.
Yeah, we're going to try to take a look at a replay. I believe Flaum, Claiborne, Lopez. I think Kresge might have been involved as well. Let's see what we can find here.
So not the best start here for the Daredevils, as they made it 2 corners, and we've probably junked at least 3 cars, maybe 4.
We see one car gets kicked around right there. We're going to see if we can get a better look from a little chase cam. This is Bless Lopez in this white number 86 car that we're going to be watching here. He's on the bottom. I think he's going to come up to the top here. Drifts up the track a little bit. This is coming out of 2. And just makes contact. Don't know what car number that is. It might be the 31, 35.
Cody Claiborne.
Cody Claiborne. All right, so Claiborne's involved there. We see Kresge gets turned, I believe, maybe by Wesley Shire, who was trying to check up for that one a little bit. So a few cars involved there. It looks like Lopez and Claiborne probably got the worst of it.
On pit road right now is Bless Lopez, Zachary Flaum, Drew White, Matthew Johnston, and Christopher Kresge. Extended service for Kresge, Flaum, and Lopez. They, Kresge and Lopez have meatball flags. Flaum does not, but I'm sure he has extensive damage he needs to repair. As we did not even make it a lap before the first caution flew here at Gateway.
Hardly made it a half a lap. That's actually very surprising. I mean, this is a pretty tight track now, so the restarts will get a little bit hectic for sure. So that's not, I guess, crazy surprising, but usually these guys are very tight knit and give each other a lot of room and a lot of respect. Which that's not that there wasn't any respect there. I just think Bless might have thought he was clear and just wasn't by a hair, and ended up getting into Claiborne.
I think it's pretty easy to push up the track on cold tires as well, especially on a turn with such a small turn radius like turn 1 here in Gateway. I think that's an easy mistake to make here early in the going. It's just an unfortunate one as well. Bless Lopez had such a good run going last week and got caught up in the very last caution running in P2, and it ended his race after he got up front and led 3 laps early in the going. This is the first time we've seen Christopher Kresge back in action in a couple of weeks as well. I believe he hasn't made a start since his DNF at Mid-Ohio 2 races ago, and he is already disconnected from the servers. So tough night for the league proprietor here of the RIL Daredevil series as he goes out on lap number 1. Neil Lusher also did not take the green flag. Once again, that's the second time we've seen him do that here this season. So hopefully Neil can get on track here and pick up at least 2 spots from Kresge and Lopez, who are done for the night.
And I think I might have only raced this track one time. Surprisingly long caution laps here.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Know what the speed must only be 35 miles an hour or so, but I thought they would go by a little bit quicker than this. So an early caution has clicked off quite a few laps. I mean, we're going to be going on green on lap 6.
So as they run, we'll sort out the field for you here. Octavio Rondoletto fended off the challenge from Nate Siefker and Gavin Sanders there in the first corner. So it's Rondoletto leading Sanders and Siefker. Then it's Bruno Miranda in 4th, Nicholas Isidro in 5th, Christopher Hill, James Watson. They all held serve from where they started this race, 1 through 7. And then it's Joshua Tucker up 2 spots to 8th. Up 3 spots to 9th is Peter Donchek. Also up 3 spots, Hugo Galaz now is in P10. Wesley Shire, DL Lemon, Charles Grove, Daryl Weininger, and Cody Claiborne now your top 15. Drew White, Matthew Johnston, Zachary Flaum, all with damage, but all still in the lead lap. That's all the way through to 18th. And Bless Lopez, Christopher Kresge, 19th and 20th. Pace car is off. We are going back green, and an awesome jump there for Octavio Rondoletto as he puts lap number 6 up on the board.
Yeah, huge jump out there. Gets to control the restart, which is always a beautiful thing.
Now we'll have to see if there's going to be a scrap for second as Sanders, Siefker went to the outside, and now he's going to be under fire from Bruno Miranda out of turn number 4. Sanders holds on to second, and across the line, he is about 0.6 of a second behind Rondoletto.
Yeah, Siefker went to the top lane there, and he about paid for it. Sanders got through on him, and Miranda nearly got his nose on the inside and went around him as well.
Single file, actually all the way field here except for Miranda and Siefker. Miranda also tried going up high there to see if anything was going to happen. It did not. That is going to allow Nicholas Isidro to close in just a little bit on this battle for 3rd and 4th. Rondoletto gave up about 0.5 of a second that time to Gavin Sanders, who does not have to worry much for the time being about Nate Siefker. As Isidro looks to the outside of Miranda for spot number 4.
And there is
single file most of the way through the field. What you got?
I was just going to say, you mentioned that there is some banking in turns 3 and 4, a lot more than there would be in 1 and 2 anyways. So Isidro might have been trying to gain a little momentum on the outside since there is some banking. Didn't seem to work for him there, though.
Sanders has caught the race leader. He takes a look to the outside. Going to lose a little bit of time. We'll have to see if taking that middle or that high line, 1, heats up the right rear tire, which we talked about in the pre-race show. But also, 2, if it gives them any sort of momentum down that front straightaway.
You see Sanders kind of late arc that corner. He kind of went a half a lane up above the bottom and then arced down through the corner. Seemed to have a pretty good run coming down the front stretch there on Rondoletto.
If you're hanging out with us here tonight, let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We had William Leach in the chat a little while ago, so if you're still here, let us know. If anybody else is here, let us know. I believe we just had a pass for 15th maybe as Matthew Johnston went through on Drew White. But, man, Gavin Sanders has given Octavio Rondoletto all he can handle. This time he might have a much better look off the outside in turn number 4. He's going to pull even with him down the front straightaway, and Nose is ahead at the line. But is that outside line going to work here in 1 and 2? It doesn't not work. He's back to it on the outside. Still going to be side by side, and this is going to allow Siefker and Miranda both to close in on this battle. It'll be a 4-car dance for the top spot.
And I'm honestly very surprised how much momentum he was able to carry on the top in turns 1 and 2. Almost pulled ahead. Rondoletto was pretty gracious, gave him some room there.
These two are going at it like Edwards and Keselowski. They are on the outside wall. They're going down to the inside. Now Sanders has the look to the inside. This is going to be the first time Rondoletto's had to go to the top in 3 and 4. That's going to allow Sanders to clear. Siefker is right there, as is Miranda. And Nicholas Isidro's with about half a second of this battle as well, as here comes Rondoletto back to the outside as Sanders had the top spot outright across the line. Rondoletto is not done. Here he goes. He has the momentum now down the back straightaway. Sanders with the wings still to the inside. He takes the preferred line into 3. Rondoletto did not get a good quarter entry. Here comes Miranda from 4th to 3rd, looking for 2nd. Rondoletto down to block his teammate.
These top 4 drivers are looking like fighter pilots in a dogfight, just bobbing and weaving, taking shots at each other, gaining momentum. Unbelievable racing here in the front.
Nicholas Isidro and Christopher Hill are closing in on this battle as well. It's about to be a 6-way shootout. Did you have this pegged as a pack race? I sure didn't.
This was the least pack race on my schedule other than the road courses, of course. I surely thought this was going to be more like Milwaukee, like we mentioned in the pre-race show, but this is nothing like Milwaukee from what I'm seeing.
Sanders washed up the track there out of turn number 2 as Rondoletto really putting the moves on to try and fend off Gavin Sanders. It's an international feel here at the front. Top 3 drivers right now, none of them are from the US of A. You got Argentinian Rondoletto leading Canadian Sanders, and now the Brazilian Bruno Miranda makes contact with Nate Siefker to his inside. They touch again down the back straightaway. Sanders has a lick to the outside for Rondoletto. Siefker and Miranda, 2 drivers who are no strangers to one another, absolutely giving each other all they can handle, and that's for P3. Sanders and Rondoletto are having a scrap for the lead. Lap number 18 is up on the board. We got 63 laps to go. Can they hold this up for 63 more laps? I don't think so.
I mean, all of this action going on. You got Christopher Hill and Nicholas Isidro in 5th and 6th. Just, I would imagine sitting back and going, well, these guys are going to take each other out. We might as well just sit back here for a while. This is unbelievable.
Since they're driving, they can't watch the stream. This is about the next best thing. They get a great look at this as Siefker again to the inside of Bruno Miranda. Sanders falls in line behind Rondoletto. They are getting blocked all the way down to the grass.
Tommy, I'm glad that you mentioned it. We're actually going to ride along with Christopher Hill and watch a little bit of the action in front of him.
Miranda and Siefker side by side for 3rd. Sanders, Rondoletto side by side for the lead. Sanders way up the track, but he gets a great shot of momentum going from the top down to the bottom out of turn number 2. He'll have the run down the back straightaway, crosses underneath of Rondoletto, has the inside headed into 3. Miranda pinching Siefker down to the bottom there in 3 and 4. This is awesome.
This is crazy, and anybody out there watching, tell me if you're enjoying this camera angle or not. This is actually pretty crazy getting to watch this from the vantage point of Christopher Hill, of all the bobbing and weaving going on up here in front of him.
That was the biggest advantage anybody has had in the last at least 10 laps. It was a car length and a half Sanders had over Rondoletto. Rondoletto is mounting another offensive here down the front straightaways. Lap number 22 is going to go up on the board. Still got 18 cars in the lead lap here. And we'll go through the field eventually, but you cannot take your eyes off of the front 6 right now. All of them slicing and dicing as Rondoletto, I swear he just dipped a tire into the grass there, but he is going back from the inside to the outside in 3 and 4. I should mention we have some of the championship favorites up front here, but James Watson is in P7. He's the first car on the outside looking into this battle. And maybe he wants to be a part of this action, but then again, maybe not. So we'll have to wait and see. But he is about a second and a half behind all the top 6 here, as they are absolutely going bananas. Sanders and Rondoletto trading lines, trading blocks, trading sliders. Siefker and Miranda doing the same behind him. Siefker may have a look here. He's going to take it 3 wide into turn 1. This isn't going to work.
What a classic Nate Siefker move, taking it 3 wide into a turn where you have no business being 3 wide in. I love it.
Sanders had a huge run. Rondoletto absolutely stuffed it in front of him. Sanders had to get on the binders. Miranda looking to go in the middle, 3 wide between Sanders and Siefker as Rondoletto is back out front. Oh, Miranda nudges into the wall. Really does not lose that much pace, though. And Christopher Hill's going to fancy a go here. Now he pulls up into the mix. absolute insanity at the front of the field. Caution is out. The caution is out. And it's not from the leaders. I can't believe it.
That was some of the greatest racing I have ever seen,
Wow.
either in person or on sim. I don't care who you are. That was spectacular racing.
And I, for the life of me, cannot find where this caution took place.
Well, I'm looking at my incident report here. It looks like it was Joshua Tucker.
I heard Drew White call out over the radio asking if the caution was going to come out, but I didn't see what had happened. And
This
now
is Tucker. He is on the high side coming out of 4, and he just gets a little tight coming out of 4, hits the wall, and spins out right in front of the start-finish line.
And I'm sure that Peter Donchak, he was the car that was to the inside there of Drew White, or of Joshua Tucker. I'm sure that he had a poop moment, seeing the cars spinning towards him off the top side of the track.
Certainly.
Donchak lives to see another day as we got all the leaders now heading down pit road. And I'll give you one guess as to the only car that stayed out.
I'm going to guess somebody trying to get a lap back.
Yep. It was one driver that missed the grid to start the night.
Oh, is it Neil Lusher?
It's the only driver that ever stays out when everybody else pits. It's Neil Lusher.
That's awesome.
God love him. He might actually get the wave around here. So he waited until the restart actually to get back out onto the track. So he came out on about lap 7, I'd say. Is 9 laps down now. So I guess maybe he came out on lap 9. That would be a fair assumption, I suppose.
I'm not sure
So
what happened to Bruno
Miranda. Oh, go ahead.
Bruno Miranda is slow down the backstretch, letting everybody pass him. I'm wondering if there's some sort of penalty that he got, maybe speeding into the pits or out of the pits, or some sort of penalty, surely.
So I can tell you he doesn't have a black flag, but I think if it's an EOL penalty, it's not going to show me a black flag. It would just tell him to go to the tail. That's what I would imagine that is probably the case. Watching his pit exit, he stays. His pit entry and his pit exit themselves are all fine. He stays in the lanes properly. And as soon as he hits the blue line, he is off the pace. So he must have picked up a speeding penalty, I suppose. Well, we got a couple of laps here. Let's go ahead and pay the bills. And it's always a shout out to the title sponsor, as always, because just because the action has stopped in Indy for the year doesn't mean you shouldn't visit Speedway Indiana. If you find yourself around IMS this offseason, carve out a little time to visit the title sponsor of the RIL Daredevil series, Daredevil Brewing Company. Their brewery and tap room is open Monday to Friday, located in Speedway Indiana, right across the street from AJ Foyt Racing, just south of the track at IMS. If you're not in the mood for some brew as much as you are for some good food, check out their restaurant, Daredevil Hall, open Tuesday to Sunday on the northeast end of Indianapolis. In addition to their tap room and restaurant, you can find their products all across Indiana in restaurants and grocery stores, including the #1 best-selling Indiana-made IPA Liftoff. Even if you won't be in Speedway anytime soon, you can place an order online at daredevilbeer.com. If nothing else, get on their socials, blow them up, blow them up, blow them up. Thank them very much for supporting the Revolution Indy League and the RIL Daredevil series. Bruno Miranda is back down pit road. So wonder what happened. I'm going to go back and look at that again and see if maybe he made some contact with somebody during his pits. 'Cause I don't really know what's happening.
I mean, we know that he made a little bit of contact with the outside wall. Unless this is, what lap are we at? This could be a fuel play here.
So it's 26. We have 55-ish, 50 to 55 laps of fuel on board these cars. It's a 33 Imperial gallon tank, but it's limited to 25% for the sake of this league. So about 8.5 gallons is what that comes out to. and it gets you about 50 to 55 laps somewhere in there. There was absolutely no fuel saving going on while he was battling for the lead there. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is going to be the play for Bruno Miranda. We will have to wait and see. As up front, it is Gavin Sanders leading Nate Siefker. And the green flag is back in the air here at Gateway on lap number 30. Single file and spread out with the snake. Something we saw pretty much every lap at Pocono a couple of weeks ago is back in play here. Trying to break the draft, Sanders has Siefker pulling up to him. Cedro and Hill now third and fourth, quite a ways back. Octavio Rondoletto is down in P11 as well, so maybe some teammate fuel strategy going on. I think you may be right.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about being, 50 to 55 laps, and currently, well, when they were coming into pit, they were about 54 laps to go in the race. So if we're thinking green flag all the way, they might think that they have some advantage as far as fuel goes to run this one out all the way without having to pit again for fuel.
Side by side for spot number 3. It's, I believe, Hill on... Actually, it was Cedro that made the pass on the outside to take back the third spot. Hill is going to have a look now to the inside into 3 and 4. And I can't stress this enough. Nicholas Cedro, who was very consistent in Season 1, was up front quite a lot of the time, up in the top 5. Really has not had a great showing thus far in Season 2. I believe a 9th place finish at Pocono last week is actually his best finish all season. So it's been a great run already for Nicholas Cedro, and hopefully it stays that way because I like seeing the guy up front.
Behind them, we're 3 wide going into 3. This is Rondoletto, Shire, and DL Lemon. Rondoletto went underneath Lemon and Shire to pick up that spot, but Lemon's fighting back on the inside into 1 now. This
Lemon
is all
the bottom.
for the sixth position.
Yeah, Rondoletto restarted outside of the top 10, so he's made quick work of everybody up to this point. And you're right, that puts him P7 now. Needs to pick up a little under a second and a half to catch up to Wesley Shire in 6th. As everybody else in front of Octavio Rondoletto rather is in touch with the lead pack here. But some work to be done for Rondoletto. Bruno Miranda, meanwhile, has not made it past P13. So it's been a good restart for Rondoletto, not so much for Miranda.
And I mentioned if we went green all the way, that was a fuel strategy. But not only that, if we have, one more caution, those guys might be able to stay out while everybody else may have to come in and pit for fuel. So even if we don't go green all the way, that's still a fuel strategy if there is another caution.
I want to say hello to Vanity Fair in the YouTube chat. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, let us know. Give us a shout. And yes, I did have to get rid of the bot. Don't like bot spam in the chat, so the bot is gone. Sorry that the bot left you, but it had to be done.
It's all right. There was a hole left in my heart, too.
Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to take it any further if it doesn't. But it's going to start tumbling pretty quick.
This isn't Thunderdome. Let's not go there.
Nope. Yep. We got 17 cars running. 16 of them, rather, if I could talk, are on the lead lap. It's Sanders leading Siefker, Hill, Cedro, and Watson, the top 5. Wesley Shire in 6th. Octavio Rondoletto, DL Lemon, Peter Donchak, Hugo Galaz, now your top 10. Debuting Daryl Weininger in P11 right now, holding off Bruno Miranda in 12th. Then it is Matthew Johnson in 13th as the car's around. I believe it's Nate Siefker, and the caution is out. Everybody getting past Nate Siefker without hitting him this time. Unlike what happened in Pocono.
Siefker is still stopped on the top side there. Trying to get that thing
wonder-
refired. He does.
I have no idea what just happened to Nate Siefker. He was going at pace through the middle of 3 and 4, and all of a sudden just slows down to like 120 miles an hour. Christopher Hill ran into him. That was bizarre.
Yeah, so this is the replay. Siefker here in the black number 2 machine right behind your leader. And we see coming out of 4. He's on the bottom, but very slow. We saw him keep rolling. I was going to say maybe he forgot to take fuel and he ran out, but he did refire and keep going. Ooh,
He said
boy.
something. He said something over the radio. I couldn't quite make it out what he said. But bizarre incident there. That's not really sure what to make of that. So this
I have
has,
no idea. We'd have to talk to him to figure out what exactly happened there, because that, like you said, that was kind of a bizarre incident. Not really sure what the deal would have been.
This has split the field just a little bit, as Peter Donchek and Hugo Galaz have now stayed out. Everybody else, I believe, came in.
Siefker actually stayed out for a second. He's going to come in now.
Well, Siefker, I believe. Oh, never mind. I was going to say he's a lap down, but he's not, actually. So we'll have to see how much service that is going to need. I'm not sure how much the sim actually registered the contact between Hill and Siefker. It didn't really look like Siefker had that much damage. I don't think Hill has any damage, at least to the front wing. Maybe it would have knocked his toe out, but it sure doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now at the front of Hill's car. Like you said, looks pretty clean to me. Usually we see that wing's a little bent on one side or the other. It doesn't look like there's any damage to it at all. So might have been a little bit of a netcode registered incident where it doesn't really register contact, but there was. So I'm not sure, but looks like Hill might be clean. We'll have to see if Siefker is.
Well, let's give some love to our race leader here, as I believe he is going to head down the service road, but he did lead a couple of laps here. That is Peter Donchak. Tonight is start number 4 on the season for Peter Donchak. Has had some rather unfortunate circumstances a couple of different times. Was getting ready to take the green flag at Charlotte, and his pedals disconnected. So he had absolutely no throttle and no brake, just elected to bin it into the inside wall to not affect anybody else, which is very courteous of him. But what a crappy circumstance to be put into. So it's great to see Peter Donchek out front, even if it was only for a couple laps under caution. He's one of the unsung heroes of the RIL Daredevil series.
Well, Tommy, our talk about fuel strategy with the Juncos Esports drivers kind of went out the window there. They both came into pit again, maybe thinking that was going to be way too long to go on tires. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that either. I'm not familiar enough with the Lotus 79, and I'm not strategy-minded enough to be able to try and pull something out of thin air even to try and figure out what was going on there. But Rondoletto has worked his way back up now, I believe, to P5.
I mean, he made some aggressive moves on it. Yeah, he made some aggressive moves on the restart to get to where he is now. Because like you said previously, he restarted outside the top 10 on the last restart. And he pushed hard to get up to 5th right there before we went to that caution.
Getting ready to rock and roll once again. It is going to be Nicholas Isidro leading his first laps of the season here at Gateway. We are across the halfway mark, and the sim is still showing that we can get every lap in as lap number 43 goes up on the board. It's 38 to go. Here goes a move to the inside for Christopher Hill. He goes through on Gavin Sanders. James Watson is up to 4th. He's got Rondoletto behind him in P5. So the two drivers that Rondoletto really does not need to finish behind are the two drivers that are now directly in front of him.
And Hill carried a ton of momentum out of 2 there. I mean, he blasted by Sanders.
Rondoletto just got through on Watson, so move Rondoletto now up to P4. He's got Gavin Sanders in his crosshairs.
Rondoletto's driving like a madman right now. We haven't had to see him do this too much this season because he's been very smooth and consistent, but he is showing us that he can be aggressive when he needs to be.
We've really only seen him scrap with the his other fellow championship contenders one time, and it was at Richmond when James Watson got the better of him and passed him in the very last corner of the race. That was really the only time that we've seen Rondoletto have to get elbows up on an oval. And he has definitely proven that he is one of the better oval drivers in this league, not just tonight, but across this entire season. He kicked things off right away with a big win at Auto Club and has not looked back since.
And Wesley Shires moved up a little bit. He is up 11 spots in total this race, up to P6. He's actually looking to try to get around James Watson right now.
Right now, Nicholas Isidro is trying to keep Christopher Hill out of tow range. Unfortunately, Hill is starting to inch his way back up into the conversation for the top spot. It was as much as 8.5 tenths of a second. Now Christopher Hill has cut that to almost half a second now as they work down the back straightaway on lap number 47.
And obviously there wasn't any damage registered for Christopher Hill. He's looking to run down the race leader at the moment.
Yeah, cut into the deficit that last time by 2 tenths. So Christopher Hill is reeling in the race leader. Rondoletto and Sanders are also drawing nearer to one another, but they are 1.5 seconds behind the battle for the lead now.
This is the most spread out we've been all night. The closest battle here is Miranda and Lemon. Miranda on the inside of Lemon going through on the bottom on the front stretch. Lemon's going to try to fight back here as Miranda got down on the strips just a little bit, but carries a lot of momentum coming out of 2, and he clears Lemon by quite a good margin.
Battle for the lead is down to a car length and a half now as Christopher Hill is closing fast. He might have a look here into turn number 1. He takes a peek to the inside, and he is there. Has to check up just a little bit. Isidro's going to get the run down the back straightaway, but Hill is making his presence felt here.
And if these two battle for a while, that's going to allow some of the other competitors to close the gap and get into this fight for the lead. So,
caution!
Oh, we actually have a caution out.
Hugo Glaz, I believe, was involved. He's the first one to say something over the radio. Actually, Hugo Glaz is not involved. Not sure.
What do you know? It's our good old pal Nate Siefker again, I believe.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He must have something going on. I don't.
Well, he sent a video in the Discord a few days ago about trying to put a new sim rig together, I think. Not 100% sure. I think what you're going to see happen is he gets a little too hard on the throttle out of turn number 2 and gets up into the wall. So I'm not sure if he's having equipment problems, whereas he's trying to flat-foot it out of turn number 2, and the track is not being very receptive.
Yeah, that one definitely just tried to carry a lot of momentum out of 2. That's pretty much the same thing we saw from Tucker, who was trying to do the same coming out of 4 when we saw his incident. Siefker hits the outside wall, keeps it off the inside wall, actually. Very impressive.
That is definitely not what Nicholas Isidro and Christopher Hill wanted to see, as they had gotten out away from Sanders and Rondoletto, and now everybody is right back in bunch formation here. As I believe the pits were open, nobody from the top 6, 7, 8 cars make their way down pit road. I believe actually Matthew Johnston and Nate Stiefka are going to be the only two that head down pit lane to get some service.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we talked to the drivers about tire wear, and they did tell us that after a caution, the tires cool down, and you have actually pretty good traction, even if they are older tires. So I guess not really that surprising, although they are going to end up having quite a few laps on these tires once we get to the end of this run, if we go green to the end. That is a big if here tonight, though.
Huge if, massive if. We've got 29 to go. It'll be 28 to go at the line. I mean, we had that one spectacular run that was as good as any run at any track that we've seen. But I would wager to say the rest of this race has been pretty much what I expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean, that first run, well, minus the half a lap caution that we had right at the beginning.
Not counting
that one. But after that, I mean, yeah, that was a magical run. That will be remembered for me for years to come, and hopefully for everybody here at the RIL, because that was a magical 20 laps or so that they were just duking it out left and right. That was insane.
There's no reason it can't be replicated here. Probably going to be heading back to restart this race with 27 laps to go. Sim is saying that we can still get every lap in here. So we're still looking at lap number 80 as the time ticks away here on our 55-minute time limit race. But Nicholas Isidro sitting pretty out front here, with Christopher Hill behind him. Now Gavin Sanders, Octavio Rondoletto, James Watson, who are not only battling for the win tonight, for a good finish, but also for the championship. Those are your top 3 drivers. We'll go ahead and cement them as the championship 3, not knowing, of course, the outcome of this race, because we don't live in the future. We live in the present, and if you're watching this tomorrow, we live in the past. Crazy how time works, isn't it?
I mean, I've been living in the future past pretty much all week after the time change here.
Okay. The time change?
That one kind of flopped, sorry.
Did we have
the time
daylight
changed
saving?
on Saturday.
Did it really?
Oh my god! See, you don't have an analog. You don't have any analog clocks. Yours just change automatically. You didn't even know.
No, I didn't know we had daylight savings already. You're not kidding me. You're being 100% serious.
Did you not notice that it's starting to get dark at 4:45 now?
I thought it was doing that anyway. Oh my gosh, I feel like such an idiot.
Well,
oh my god. Well,
you said
anyway.
It, not me.
I see. What I did was stick your joke that fell flat and made it even better. As we're getting ready to go racing once again at Gateway. Is this going to be the run to the checkers? 26 laps to go. Nicholas Isidro leading Christopher Hill. Gavin Sanders, a much better start behind Isidro this time. He is not able to get out to quite the gap as he was last time. Rondoletto did fall off a little bit from Gavin Sanders, but certainly not out of tow range here. Single file most of the way through the field. Top 13 cars are on the lead lap here, but Matthew Johnston in P13 is well behind the pack here. So it's really the top 12 cars that are bunched together. We'll have to see if they all can form up into one group. As I believe Miranda is now back on the offensive here, looking to the inside of James Watson for P5. And he is going to get it out of turn 4. Watson is going to battle back on the outside, though.
Miranda not quite clear yet. He does now going into one. Probably not a preferred entry into the corner, though. He does make it stick, though. As now Wesley Shire is going to look to the back of Watson as well.
Nicholas Isidro, remember, stayed out a couple of cautions ago. So maybe on a lighter fuel load, also on some older tires. We'll have to see which is going to prevail here, as Christopher Hill might be the one to prevail. He takes a look to the inside, a little bobble off the rumble strips, pulls up side by side with the race leader. He'll have another go here into turn number 3. Gavin Sanders looming larger and larger behind these two. And Rondoletto, don't look now, he's closed it in as well.
If you're Gavin Sanders, you're loving the battle that's going on right now.
Yeah, Cedro's not done. He lost the lead that time outright, but goes right back to the attack on the inside. Pushes it just a little bit up the track. Out of turn number 2, Hill's got the momentum down the back straightaway. Can he clear him before they get into 3? And he does. Here comes Sanders now to the inside of Isidro. Isidro with a little bit of momentum now off of the middle and top side in 3 and 4. They're both going to close in on the race leader, Christopher Hill. Whoa, close quarters there. Nearly banging wheels and banging tubs. Isidro hangs on to second. They both hang on to their cars. Rondoletto is in the mix as well. Here goes Isidro back to the bottom. Isidro right there on the rumble strips. A little wiggle there off the rear wing. Yeah, here we go. You're absolutely right.
Here we go. This is exactly what we saw in that first big run. The top 4 looking to duke it out again. Isidro and Christopher Hill. Whoa, it looked like there was almost contact between wheels there.
20 to go underneath of 10 minutes. Sim is still saying we can get all 80 laps in, and if they stay like this, I can't imagine we're going to go green all the way to the drop of the checkers here. As it's now Sanders and Isidro once again side by side for second. If you're Rondoletto, do you push the issue or do you wait for these guys to take themselves out?
I mean, Rondoletto with a huge points lead, wanting to keep consistent. I would think that he's just going to let these guys maybe take themselves out until maybe the final few laps. We've seen him be pretty aggressive here tonight, actually. So maybe feeling a little froggy, wants to mix it up here before the end of the race.
That aggressiveness, you said it, has brought him right back into the fray here. It's the top 4 separated from the rest of the field. The next closest car is about 1.5 seconds behind. It's Bruno Miranda, and I'd say the tow range is about 1 second, maybe 1.1 seconds. Miranda is outside of that. We'll have to see as these drivers continue to scrap here in the closing laps, if anybody else can close back in. As we've got 4 cars duking it out for the race win here. It's Christopher Hill looking to go back-to-back after winning his first career race at Pocono last week. Gavin Sanders looking for his 3rd win of the season. Nicholas Isidro looking for his first ever Daredevil Series victory. And Octavio Rondoletto, the points leader. Winner of 1 race here this season, would love to make it 2 and cement himself atop the point standings with just 2 races to go. Agendas for all 4 of these drivers.
It seems like Isidro's protecting that outside line. The Sanders have tried to get to the inside of him and make a pass a couple of times here within the last 10 laps or so, and just can't make it work. Isidro prevails on the outside every time, as now he's using the outside to try to get around the leader of Hill. It's not going to work this time.
Presumably he's on older tires, although we have seen a lot of times these Daredevil drivers don't always take tires when they come into pit. But Isidro has been longer on these tires since the last time he has pit anyway. But Christopher Hill back to it in the lead. Sanders a couple of car lengths behind as Isidro goes right back to the attack on the inside. Whoa, slides up the track, nearly contact, Hill's around, into the wall hard. And he's up and over.
Yeah, didn't hold the brakes. I'm sure he's not happy about that one. Ends up actually getting flipped over after making more contact with that wall.
And I'll let you confirm this as you rack up the replay. I don't think Hill and Isidro actually made contact. Because what it looked like to me was that Isidro had the bobble on the bottom, Hill reacted, and his reaction caused the right rear to come around on him.
Yeah, Isidro tried to do a little bit of a good old-fashioned slide job there. We're going to take a look here in slow-mo. This is Hill on the top, Isidro on the bottom. This is for the race lead. Isidro on the rumble strips, goes up the track a little bit. Yeah, Hill drifts up the track. It didn't look like there was any contact code as far as net code goes or anything, and no contact between the cars. You might be right if there was some net code, we weren't able to tell. And Hill goes for quite a ride after making contact with that outside wall.
Man, that is such a shame. Everybody was giving it their all up front. That's not the first time we've seen a wheel get put wrong between these drivers, but it's the first time that we've seen somebody not recover from it. It was awesome racing up front, and it's a shame that anybody has to not finish the race as a result of it. But I really didn't see anything egregious there. I think that was just hard racing.
Yeah, certainly hard racing. I mean, it seemed like unless Hill slowed down and gave him a lot of slack, it seemed like Isidro did have him cleared, was looking for a little slide job move there. And just unfortunately, Hill got a little bit loose trying to give him some room on the inside and ends up in the wall.
Under 6 minutes to go. We're about to put the funny number up on the board. It'll be lap 69 when they come across the line this time. Sim is still saying we can get every lap in, but I'd say there's a chance that laps could start coming off the board here as we work under the 5th caution period of the race.
Well, unfortunately for the viewers, we're going to go laps to go here within 20, so we're going to be at 12 and 11 to go here.
They just get to hear it's the funny number. They don't get it to actually see it and
they don't
laugh.
actually get to see the funny number, unfortunately.
That's all right. They could just type it into their phone and laugh just the same.
Everybody type the funny number in chat. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to see the funny number, please. I mean, I did just ban the funny number bot from posting in the chat.
Yeah, but we don't want funny number bots. We want real funny numbers.
We want actual people who are 5 years old like us and think it's funny. Oh, brother. Are we having fun? I tell you what, this has been everything I could hope for and then some.
I mean, honestly, we were talking before the race that we thought it was a little bit of a low car count. This has been fantastic racing here tonight. I think I probably exceeded a lot of the expectations of some of our viewers and drivers here tonight, possibly.
I would certainly hope so, because it's been a humdinger. Dare I say, it's been a humdinger. I went there.
An almondinger?
No, a humdinger.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I misheard
on the sliding dinger scale, we are not to almondinger yet, but it is certainly a humdinger.
The sliding dinger scale, you never cease to amaze me.
Yeah. The inner mechanisms of my mind are an enigma.
All right, let's tell the people what we're going to have here, Tommy. We're going to have 10 to go here when we come to green.
Yep, unfortunately, Christopher Hill, of course, is disconnected from the sim. But when we come back to the line, it'll be 10 laps to go. Nicholas Isidro is the race leader. He's been up front for the better part of the last half of this race, looking for his first Daredevil career victory. Gavin Sanders, Octavio Rondoletto, two of the points protagonists here. In second and third. Bruno Miranda is back in the mix in fourth, but he does not get a good start as the top three scoot away. 10 to go at Gateway. Rondoletto to the inside of Sanders. Top three single file. Much smoother, but a little slower line for Isidro on corner entry. Sanders absolutely sends it in, but has to roll out of it just about a third of the way through the turn. All three of them on the same page through 1 and 2. Nobody really has the advantage. Scratch that. Sanders has cut it to less than a car length. He is going to have a go to the inside into turn number 3. Sanders is clear for the lead. Rondoletto is still in third. 8 to go. The Snake, Isidro to the outside.
Isidro loves pulling the outside here, wants to carry the momentum going down the front and the back stretch. He's going to pull up alongside Sanders here going into 3.
He does have the momentum. Rondoletto is going to go with him middle. Sanders clears him off the bottom. Isidro migrates down there. He has the run now. Down the front straightaway, 7 to go. Side by side for the race lead. Sanders up in front of Isidro, who has the run. Sanders with the bobble down the track. Bruno Miranda is creeping into the mix as well. He'll have James Watson and Wesley Shire in tow with him. We'll see if they have enough time to make this a 6-car dance yet again. But up front, Isidro giving Sanders all he can handle for the race lead. And Isidro this time with his biggest lead of this whole run, a car length and a half, maybe 2, as Rondoletto now says it's go time. Underneath the Sanders for spot number 2.
Just a big bobble by Sanders through 1 and 2. Rondoletto and Isidro are able to carry a ton of momentum on him. That whole lap around, Isidro to the front, Rondoletto now to the inside looking to pick the second spot up. Isn't going to be able to do it this time.
Go, go, Bruno Miranda. Here he comes behind a couple of car lengths over Rondoletto, as Sanders now going to go to the outside of Isidro once again. It'll be 4 to go at the line. The top 4 cars are in the hunt here. Shire and Watson are not too far behind either. Sanders across the line takes the lead back. Rondoletto takes a peek to the outside of Isidro now for second. He's got him cleared. Not the last we'll hear of Isidro, I'm sure, but Rondoletto and Sanders first and second. Rondoletto looks to the outside of Sanders. Bruno Miranda to the inside of his teammate. Just a little peek here as they come out of turn number 2. The Snake is on down the back straightaway. Two laps to go at the line. Rondoletto has the run. Pulls even with Sanders as they break for turn number 1. Miranda up the track a bit. Isidro gets back to P3. Contact with Miranda sends him up into the wall. Rondoletto noses out in front of Sanders as they enter turn number 3. But Sanders, with the big send there all the way around the bottom of the track, clears Rondoletto by a car length. White flag is in the air one more time around at Gateway. It's these 4, Sanders, Rondoletto, Miranda, and Isidro. 2 championship contenders, 2 drivers looking for their first win. Sanders starts the Snake. Rondoletto sends it to the middle. Sanders up to defend, leaves the bottom open. Rondoletto's going to have the run. They make contact. Blocking from Sanders to the line. Give it to Gavin Sanders. Gavin Sanders wins it at Gateway. 42 1/1000ths of a second. Gavin Sanders' career win number 3. And he is not done yet.
What a race by our top drivers all night long. Sanders putting the moves on the field there on that last run. He's going to come away with his 3rd win of his Daredevil career and the 3rd win of the season for the number 10 Raceverse machine.
Absolutely incredible performance, not just from Gavin Sanders here tonight, but from every damn driver that was up front all night long. That was race of the year, undoubtedly. Sanders, Rondoletto, Miranda, Christopher Hill, who was up there for a while, Nate Siefker, who was up there for a while, Nicholas Isidro. What a heroic performance from him tonight. I mean, everybody that was up front all night long did such an incredible job. What a race. And for Gavin Sanders to be the one that comes away with it at the end of 80 laps at Gateway. I mean, what does this do? This absolutely should catapult him up into the conversation, up into the mix for the championship now. He will have put 200 points on Octavio Rondoletto with just 2 races left.
Here we are coming around 4. This is a replay of that final little corner. You see Rondoletto looks to the inside. Looked like there might have been some contact there. He knew Sanders wasn't gonna give him the bottom, so he looks to the top. Just doesn't quite have the momentum in time. He was gaining ground, but Sanders is gonna make it to the line first.
Wow. What a great performance for the Juncos Esports drivers. Hopefully we can hear from Bruno Miranda. This will be his first trip into Booth 200 for him. Octavio Rondoletto is already in waiting for review. Of course, we'll talk to Gavin Sanders here after a while. We'll give you the full finishing order here. As Gavin Sanders, of course, holds off Octavio Rondoletto. Bruno Miranda finishes P3. Best finish of the season for Nicholas Isidro in the 4th spot. James Watson rounds out your top 5 then. It is Wes A. Shire taking spot number 6. Hugo Galaz, Mr. Consistency of late, finishes in P7. Drew White then will finish in 8th. DL Lemon with a 9th place finish. Cody Claiborne, first career top 10 in Daredevil competition for driver number 31 here tonight. He's actually the last driver on the lead lap here. As in P11, Peter Donchak finishes 1 lap down, as does Zachary Flaum in spot number 12. Daryl Weininger in spot number 13, 2 laps down for his debut here tonight. Matthew Johnston, P14, I believe, actually is not the last car running because Neil Lusher finished in spot number 15. Then it is DNFs from here on out. Christopher Hill rather in 16th, Nate Siefker 17th, Joshua Tucker, Charles Grove, and Christopher Kresge round out your top 20. Bless Lopez, the first retiree, will finish in P21 here tonight after his lap 1 accident. Alrighty, I'd say it's time for our podium interviews here. What do you say, partner?
I say let's go and bring them on in.
We will start with the Storm. Bruno Miranda, 3rd place finisher here tonight. Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, Tommy. How are you? Tommy, can I, Octavio, to introduce me some words? I don't, my English is very bad.
I understand. Is your translator here?
Yeah, Octavio Rondoletto.
Okay. So you're going to have Octavio translate for you, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so awesome job here tonight, Bruno. The first thing I want to ask is about the pit strategy there. What happened with your first pit stop?
Bueno, Bruno.
Sí, no problem. Tive um problema limitador da velocidade e acabei tomando IL penalty.
Bueno, he had a problem, and he had a penalty.
Oh, okay. So talk about trying to work your way back through the field. Then was that difficult for you?
Sim, foi muito difícil. As ultrapassagens estavam muito complicadas. É circuito oval curto, pouco estreito e estava bem complicado. Eu estava com medo de me chocar com a mureta, mas foi até divertida a carreira.
He had problems to overtake because this was a difficult track to overtake because the track is so small. He was scared to hit the wall.
When you managed to make it back up front, were you trying to take the win for yourself, or were you trying to help Octavio more?
Então, não queria me meter na situação do campeonato sem dizer Octavio, então estava com os pneumáticos um pouco desgastados no final, não queria acabar estragando nenhuma disputa de posição no campeonato.
He didn't want to fight for the championship because he had a bit of used tires and he didn't want to bother.
Is there anybody you want to say hello to here tonight from the third place spot on the podium?
Bem, queria agradecer a equipe Roncos, queria agradecer a todos a transmissão, queria agradecer a Matt e Tommy pela transmissão, ótima transmissão, e muito obrigado mais uma vez pela ótima transmissão e esteja na próximo campeonato conosco também.
He wants to thank to all the team Juncos and for you guys for the excellent broadcast. He will see you in another championship.
All right, that sounds like a plan. We're happy that we finally got you up in the booth here, and it was you guys put on quite the show. So congratulations on a hard-fought third place finish here tonight.
Thanks so much. My first podium in this season. I'm very, very happy. Congratulations, Gavin and Octavio, for the podium. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much as well. Do you want to stay in here, actually, because we're going to end Octavio now. And so, man, I got to tell you, Octavio, you and Gavin and everybody else that was around you for the whole race, that was absolutely the best race of the season. I'm sure you're probably a little disappointed to finish in second here tonight, but I mean, that was some fantastic racing.
It's okay for me. I'm interested on points, to be honest. I had that problem with the clutch in the pit lane, so I try to gain some positions to don't lose a lot of points because it's difficult here. I was really scared. It's a really fast track, and it's really difficult to overtake.
Matt, do you have a question for Octavio?
Yeah, I mean we saw maybe the most aggressive driving from you that we've seen all season. After you had some issues, was it really? I mean, you said it was very difficult to pass. Was there a preferred lane to try to be aggressive throughout the field tonight, or just kind of had to take the spots where the runs were?
No, I think both lanes are good to fight. In the end, I tried to go outside and inside. I didn't that in the race, and I think that helps. But I couldn't overtake Gavin. He did a great job fighting with me.
Well, who do you want to say hello to here with your second place finish here tonight? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
For the team, Junco Racing Esports, to Bruno for the result, Gavin, and my family. They are watching the race, and you guys for the excellent broadcast.
Well, thank you as always, and hello to the family. And go celebrate another awesome podium finish here. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Matt.
Alrighty, those are the Juncos Esports teammates. First time that we've had two Juncos drivers on the podium at the same time this season, and they put on quite the show. But the show stealer here tonight by far is your winning driver for the third time this season. It's Gavin Sanders back on the top step after a disastrous Pocono last week or a couple of weeks ago. But brother, I got to tell you, that was an absolute barn burner of a race. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it was definitely something. The way the draft mechanics worked and all those funky restarts kept it interesting all the way down to the last lap.
Now, I'll kind of ask you the same question that Matt asked Octavio, but did you have a preferred lane as you were trying to work around, or did you just kind of pick your spots wherever you found them?
When the sun was still out, I think the bottom on both ends was pretty good. Obviously through traffic, it was a little bit uh, compromised, but once the sun went away and it got dark, it definitely shifted a bit higher in both ends of the track. Maybe it was just the run we were on. I mean, we made it, I think, almost 40, 50 something laps on that set of tires. So that didn't really help us all too much. And on the last lap, it was starting to kick in with the whole squishy right rear and a whole lot of motion. So I think it shifted up as the track got cooler, but I think this car is pretty specific to a high entry and a low exit is the best way around.
Matt, what do you got for Gavin?
Well, Tommy and I, we weren't really sure what to expect coming to this track. We thought maybe it might be a little bit more like the Milwaukee race last season, which was more single file, very hard to pass. But there were some really aggressive and heavy battles here. What were you expecting coming in here tonight?
I wasn't sure if it was going to stay sort of pack racing-ish. Coming into this, I was thinking the Aero Wash in this car doesn't really kick in all that heavy, not like the IR18. So I was expecting a little bit of a sort of stagnant. You could stay within a couple tenths and maybe get a good run, but the draft was gigantic. So you couldn't really do anything unless you got to the inside on entry. And the side draft as well apparently is a thing in Formula cars. So that also played a factor. Was not expecting that too much, but I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more stagnant, maybe just not a processional race, but a little bit more it ended up being. And it went pretty intense tonight.
And now I got to ask here before I let you do your shout-outs. You picked up 200 points on Octavio here tonight. Is the championship still within your sight, you think? Do you think you can still come away with it?
I mean, we'll see. I'm just going to try and pick up the 5 wins on the season and let the chips fall.
I'd say it's not bad to end up with 5 wins in a season if it does end up happening. And certainly not going to bet against you, that's for sure. You've proven yourself time and time again. Now, who do you want to give a shout out to here today?
Big thank you to Team Raceverse. Obviously, Sunset Arctic Graphics, Biocablade on Steam. Yeah, I mean, thanks to you guys for doing an epic broadcast and everybody for having a pretty clean and fun race.
Well, nights like tonight, the racing does all the for us. We just have to sit back and watch, and it was a fun one to watch, and you made it all that exciting. So congratulations, go party hard on your 3rd race victory of the season, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the next couple of weeks sometime.
Sounds good, guys. Take care. Thank you.
Whew, buddy. Well, I can't believe I failed to mention this until right now, but we have another broadcast now. We did it last night, so Venom Truck Series on Tuesday nights. I mean, that was an awesome race last night. This was an awesome race tonight. I mean, I'm just spent. I don't really know what to do with myself.
Yeah, we've had two consecutive nights of pretty great racing to broadcast. A lot of energy coming from the drivers, so we have to match a lot of energy from the booth here. I love it. I love all the action that we've been seeing recently. The Daredevil Championship is about to come to a close. We have 2 more races left, and Indianapolis and Long Beach are not going to be sleepers by any stretch of the imagination, and we're just getting started with the Venom Truck Series on Tuesday nights. We have some good things coming for sure.
Well, golly, yeah, what a race here tonight at Gateway. How do you put the final stamp on it here tonight? What's your biggest takeaways from the night?
My biggest takeaway is I did not think it was going to be what we saw. I thought we would have a lot of single file racing, kind of like Gavin said, where you were able to get a run and make a pass here and there. But that was something special for this car and this track. They're up at the front. Incredible racing, and shout out to the drivers that were up front there, because easily could have gotten into each other and made life very hard, but it was great racing all night long, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Well, thank you as always for the great work, Matt, and thank you to everybody for tuning in here tonight. With the big boost that we had yesterday from the Venom Truck Series, we are up over 70 subscribers now on YouTube. Picked up some followers on Twitch here as well. So thanks to everybody for their continued support of Turn 200. We couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without the support of the Venom Truck Series and, of course, the Revolution Indie League. Our next broadcast will be... Our next RIL broadcast, I should say, will be here next week, 7:45 Eastern, as always, as we head out west to Long Beach for some tight quarter street racing in the penultimate round of the season. You're going to want to be a part of the action that the RIL Daredevil series brings here every single week on Turn 200. Be sure to like the stream here tonight. It helps a ton. Hit follow and subscribe to get notifications every time that we go live here, not just with the RIL Daredevil series, but now with the Venom Truck series as well. Thank you once again to Daredevil Brewing Company, the title sponsor of the RIL Daredevil series, for their continued support. And thank you to Jacksonville Speedway for sponsoring the 0-0 Challenge. I'd wager to say we had a healthy amount of entries into that here tonight. So we'll update you on that at the start of next week's broadcast. For the greatest stream producer of all time, that is the one and only, the absolute legend, Mr. Matt Williamson. I've been Tommy Cook. Until we meet again next week here on Turn 200, we say so long from Virtual Gateway, where Gavin Sanders steals the show and takes win number 3 on the season.